What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Alpina Seastrong Diver 300. I'm going to give you the pros, the cons, and give you my recommendation as to whether you should or should not purchase this watch. Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, when you're looking at a watch in this price point, especially a dive style watch, there's certain specs and features that you expect it to have. The Alpina Seastrong Diver 300 has a 300 meter depth rating. It has a screw down crown, 120 click unidirectional bezel. It's powered by the Sellita SW200 movement. It has a generous amount of lume, and it has a nice wearable 49.5 millimeter lug to lug. Just taking a look at those specs on paper, this seems like a very impressive watch, and in my opinion it definitely is, but there are some reservations or shortcomings that this watch does have that we'll talk about a little bit later. The primary reason that you're gonna buy this watch over other dive watches in this price point is because of how it looks. It has a beautiful red bezel. It has a clean black matte dial. It has those polished boundaries on the indices and this really cool cushion style case. Next is going to be the bezel action. I don't have a lot of experience in this regard. I haven't had a lot of dive style watches. I did have the Glycine Combat Sub, and that one had a pretty decent bezel, but I think this one is much better. The way that the bezel sounds, the way it feels, and how precise and accurate the bezel is, I think is just absolutely fantastic. It does it for me. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that it has a 49.5 millimeter lug to lug. I said that because it has a rather large 45.2 millimeter case diameter. So when people hear that number or they see the specs on paper, it just seems like it's going to be this absolutely absurdly large watch. But since they have really short compact lugs, it makes the watch very wearable. Moving on to the dial. The dial is a matte black dial as opposed to like a flat black or a polished black dial. And I think that was an excellent choice by Alpina. If it were one of the other two options, then I think the dial would have kind of blended in a little bit with the polished indices, and it would have kind of removed the depth that the applied indices add. There's a lot of contrast in the dial with the indices reflecting and becoming very dark, and the lighter matte style black of the dial, you can still see the separation, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. Continuing to the case itself, it has a really nice cushion style case. I can't exactly tell you why I like the cushion style case. Like, I've tried thinking about explaining it in a way that makes sense, but I just can't. I just look at the case and I like how it looks. I like how it feels and fits on my wrist, and I think it's just really well executed. It's got a good balance. It works well with all the other design elements and features of the watch, and I think they did a great job. When you take a closer look at the bezel, or if you were to rub your finger around it, it has raised indices where the hour markings are, and I think that's a really nice subtle character touch that they put on this watch. And finally, the buckle. It's a small thing to nitpick about, but I'm really weird and particular about every last element of the watch. So when it comes to the buckle, I hate when it's really wide and bulky and just unnecessarily large. With this one, I think they did it very well. It's nice and slim. It's not bulky in any areas. So I think they executed it really well, and it makes wearing this watch a whole lot better, more comfortable, just excellent overall. Okay, so that was a lot of good when it comes to this watch, and overall I agree this is a great watch, but there are some negatives and downsides to this watch, so let's get into that right now. First thing is the blue outer AR coating on this. I think that was a terrible choice by them. I've already put a couple minor scratches in it. It's hard to see, but over time, I know it's just gonna get worse and worse. Next up is the crown. The crown, it has this kind of, I don't know if it's like for how it looks or if it's for function, but it has this rubber portion in the mid part of the crown. And I don't know if that's to help grip and screw and unscrew the crown, but it actually works against you. It makes it harder to screw it in, harder to screw it out, and just causes the whole process to be a little less pleasant than I would like it to be. It's not a huge deal for me. I can still open it and close it relatively easily, but it's not as easy as I've had it with other watches, and it's something you definitely notice. My final con for this one is that the crystal is a fingerprint magnet. It just collects fingerprints and oils and dirt and everything that it comes into contact with, but I have to clean this crystal off constantly throughout the day. If I just rub it with my thumb, it's just gonna smear stuff everywhere. It just deals with that absolutely terribly, and that's probably a reason that some people wouldn't want to purchase this watch. If I didn't already have it, it might cause me not to buy it, but having it, it's not something that would make me sell it. But it's really annoying, and it deals with it really, really poorly, and it's something that you should definitely be aware of. And there's a bonus con. It's not really anything that bothers me, but it's been prevalent in the videos that I've seen and articles that I've read regarding the watch, is that a lot of people dislike that it doesn't have minute markers. I guess that's important for tracking time more accurately, obviously, when diving and doing other activities. A lot of people don't like that it doesn't have minute markers. Me, it's not a huge deal, so I still love the watch, but definitely something you should consider if you're looking to buy this watch. Okay, so now that we've covered all the pros and cons for the watch, I think it is a fantastic watch, and as long as it doesn't contain any fatal flaws in the cons that I went over with you guys, then you should definitely pick this watch up. You can get it for a pretty reasonable price, probably somewhere around $600 to $850. If there's nothing else in that price point that you think offers better value, this is a watch you'll absolutely love, and it will treat you very well. That takes care of it for this video. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you are looking forward to more watch content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Drop a like on the video if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you're not already subscribed, my mouth is just